Today's video, we are going to talk about how to really make money using TikTok's ad library, LinkedIn ads library, and Google Ads Transparency Center, given a lot of people don't, first of all, know about what this is, but when they do, they have no clue actually how to use this data to make more money. They use the data in ways that they think make sense, but doesn't make sense at all. And what these are actually is a bank or database of different ads that are running on these different ad platforms, on LinkedIn, on TikTok, and also through Google, on YouTube, on the display network, and so forth, which are great seed ideas for you to come up with ads for your own campaigns. So whereas with search campaigns, typical text ads, shopping ads, stuff like that, it's pretty easy to see what's going on by doing a Google search or using tools like SpyFu, SEMrush, that kind of thing. When you're running display ads, the Google Ads Transparency Center, Facebook ad library, LinkedIn ad library, TikTok ad library are the places to go to find out what your competitors are doing so you can copy them in essence. Even though, as I'm going to go into this video on, you do not want to just copy verbatim your competitors. There's a system that I've come up with, a formula if you will, where you can copy your competitors and likely know if what you're copying actually makes a profit or not. Because I can tell you first and foremost here that 70-80% of the people advertising aren't making a ROI after expenses, and they're doing it because they don't know what their ROI is and they're just stumbling their way through it, or they're a big company, they don't need an ROI on it because they got money coming in other places. So I'm going to explain more details on that and what this formula exactly is, so you can take that data inside the ad center and the Google Transparency Center and use it to your advantage profitably, not just in general, because that's what we're all here for, is to bottom line make money, of course. And I'm going to go over a case study that shares exactly how to use this formula the way that I'm going to explain it for somebody in the local furniture store space, where we looked at not just local competitors, but national competitors as well, which if you're in a local market, that's what you should be doing. So I'm going to go into the content starting now. You guys are copying ads from people that are not even profitable. As I mentioned, this goes for wherever you're running ads, whether you're talking about Google search ads, whatever. Generally speaking, there's like 2 or 3 sides of the spectrum when it comes to ads that are running in any market. There's people that are too small, who don't know anything about run a business or how to run ads, and they think running ads is, oh, I threw something up on Facebook saying what I do. I offer kitchen remodeling. I offer basketballs. So people will see it and they'll buy it. And they're very simplistic in their thinking and / naive, and they don't make any money. Then you got bigger companies that really have a lot of resources to hire the top ad guys, so on and so forth, but they don't, because their company is so big now that Nepotism sets in. Instead of hiring the best, most competent person, they hire their cousin, their brother, somebody that the hiring manager likes, or it's the hot chick, or whatever it is. So ultimately, this happens, by the way, once you start hiring the first B person, that B person wants another B person, and then it's just like a chain reaction, if you will. The amount of revenue in a company where it basically tips over to that point seems to be right around 20 million a year in revenue. Once you've reached that point, the owner's not directly involved in the hiring process anymore, and they don't also see what employees are doing at all anymore. So what you have is somebody with an ulterior motive other than to make money for the company, deciding who gets to manage the ads. And that is not going to get the person who really knows what they're doing, given that people that know how to make money with ads are rare. And if they do know how to make money, they're not selling their time for cheap. And the HR manager doesn't want to see somebody get paid a lot, I mean, for all practical purposes, because they don't want them outshining themselves. So you got all this stuff going on at play, which at the end of the day, even though they could hire the best of the best of the best, they don't. The ads that you see running from these companies don't make any money either. Then you got the companies from around $1 million a year in revenue to 20 million a year in revenue. These companies typically are the ones that are making money with their ads, because if they did it, they couldn't keep the amount of overhead that they have going, given that ads are probably a big part of where the revenue actually comes from. And if they didn't do that right, they wouldn't be a $5 or $10 million a year company. They'd be stuck at 500,000 or 300,000, making money off of referrals only, that kind of thing. So you want to find the middle. Now, that middle though, it's not so obvious. You can't just go off of revenue by itself. There's other factors at play, and I'm going to go into them. But you want, as a whole, to find the smallest guy with the most resources dumped into it, which, as I found, is the sweet spot, because that makes sure you're not getting the big companies that are just clueless and also don't need the money from the ads because they're making money from so many other partnerships and deals and all this, that you're not copying people that don't need the ads to make money, but also you're not copying people that are so small that basically they just tell themselves that the ads work because they don't want to believe they're throwing their money away. What they're doing is a waste of time, and you get that sweet, juicy middle, if you will. So how do you do this? In specific, I came up with this formula that I follow that I'm going to show you what the results of it are. The basic formula that you want to follow that I found works very, very well. What you do is you go into your TikTok ad library, LinkedIn ads library, Google Ads Transparency Center, and you find a company in your niche. You can search by company, you can search by niche itself. You could, like if you sell golf clubs, you could just put golf clubs into the search bar and find all the ads selling golf clubs. That'll allow you to find all the competitors. Then you're going to rank stack all your competitors against each other to find out who has the best metric or correlation factor. What you do is you count how many ads that they have, you divide that by the amount of revenue that they have, which the best way that I found out to estimate a company's revenue is not on LinkedIn because that's self-reported data, but you go to Melissa Data. Melissa Data keeps stats on companies and their revenue. Now, it's not totally accurate by any means, but it's a hell of a lot better than nothing. You take that number, you multiply it by the length of time they've been advertising. So what's the longest, when is the earliest time that they were advertising, and does it seem like they've been advertising consistently since? Those are kind of one and the same. So if you see they've been consistently advertising because they have an ad that came out September 2022 and then July 2023, it looks like they've been advertising pretty much consistently. With that, you write down 3 years. So what this ultimately does is it gets the person who's the small company but has lots and lots of ads running them a long time the biggest score. Because and the reason why this is relevant is somebody who isn't a particularly big company, $1 million a year company, if they actually have the money to run and have had tested 150 ads, and they've been running them for 4 years now, chances are that has to probably have had worked. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to maintain that $1 million a year company, if you will, generally speaking. Now, to add to this formula, by the way, I would probably exclude guys that are underneath 200 grand a year in revenue, because those guys, from what I found, they're just, even though they have a lot of ads, they're really just, it's a monkey with a blindfold on type of thing. So I'd just get rid of that outright. And most of the companies where the sweet spot is a company doing 500,000 to 5 million a year, lots of ads, running them a long time. It's probably an owner who's really scrappy, really good student. They watch channels like this, being the best channel on the internet about how to teach you how to make money with ads. They're studying it, they're applying it, and they're using it to make money. And they have maybe a few staff, and they're making 200-300 grand a year, and they spend most of their time trying to run the best ads. And that's their edge in the market. They don't have the particularly, the best service out there. They really know how to run ads, and it's because they studied it. So, and that's what you want to copy first and foremost out of everybody else. You rank them all against each other, and that'll tell you who's likely really have a profitable ad campaign. Not, I can see a lot of guys talking about find the oldest ad. No, because it's likely not making money. Or, with that said, you just find a competitor who's big in your market and copy their ads. No, because again, they're probably not making money, going back to what I was saying before. This sniffs out the people that are actually making money from their ads, to where they have to make money from their ads to survive, and therefore the ads are actually profitable and worth copying in the first place. Hopefully that makes sense. Beyond that, by the way, once you find out who's got the highest score here with this formula that I gave you, then you're going to take the longest running ads within those people, because taking the longest running ads does make sense. It's just you have to take them from the right competitor to begin with. That's the key distinction that I'm making here that nobody else is making across YouTube or online. So if you find out the scrappy guy that has 150 ads and he's only $1 million a year company, he cannot basically afford to have a high-end firm doing this for him, and he's been doing it for 4 years. And then you take his oldest ad that's been running for 2.5 years. That sucker right there is almost guaranteed to make money from what I found. So that's your formula right there. TikTok ads library, by the way. So in other words, TikTok's version of the so-called ad library that has all your competitors' ads in there is the best, because it shows you the length of time that somebody's been advertising. So as a part of the equation that you need to know how long people have been advertising and how long the ads have been going. TikTok's ad library allows you to know that by default. However, with the Facebook ad library, LinkedIn ad library, Google Ads Transparency Center, you need to pay a virtual assistant to track this. So if you are serious about making money with ads, truly serious, you need to damn well get your ass in gear, get a Google sheet together, write down every single competitor in your market, locally, nationally. And if you're not in the US, do it in the US, because the US has the most competitive markets in terms of the advertising. We're the best at it. No offense to anybody else, but the best, most cutting edge advertising starts in the US. And you start tracking each of their ads individually, when they started the ads and how long it's been running. With that, you got to update your sheet that you put together there to track all this once a month. So every month you see, okay, is that ad still going? No, it's not. This ad popped up. And with that raw data, you can easily figure out what you should be copying at any given time. Oh, this ad now is the longest running ad of all the competitors. Let's run that. And now what puts you in a position to do is you don't even need to be really a ad savant anymore. You literally could just be a student of identifying ads that are trending and using those ads, and let somebody else spend all their money to figure out which ads are going to work. You just sit back and figure out of all the ads in the entire pest control market nationwide, of the obvious ones that work the best, and just run those. Run the best of the best of the best ones, and 90% of the time you run an ad, it's going to be at least baseline profitable. And you can be, if you put the work in to do the work, to get the data. I know a lot, like 99% of the people watching this are going to say, oh yeah, that sounds good. They're going to get excited. They're going to run to Google Transparency Center or Facebook Ads Library, and they're just going to copy what looks good. Go ahead and get it out of your system, run that ad, not make money, and then realize it's going to take some actual homework to do this right. If it were as easy as just running to Facebook Ads Center, copying any ad from your competitor and making money, everybody would be rich already. You got to understand a little bit about how this stuff works and understand most people don't make money with ads. First and foremost, they actually be the one who does make money with your ads. So, as far as that goes, now I have a case study for you. For a local furniture store where we used this exact formula and had in-store tracking where somebody came in, bought the furniture. We had a customer rewards program so that when they checked out, they had to sign up for that to get a 10% off their order and all subsequent orders. And with that, we were able to track the ads that we were running on Facebook, on the display network, on Google, through YouTube, whether they were effective or not, because we could track in-store purchases. Also Google search ads, Microsoft search ads, we ran them all. Before I get into those numbers, if you haven't subscribed yet, you should absolutely do that. I've got the best information you're going to find online about how to make money with ads. Furthermore, you should check out my blog on my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog. It's the best information you're going to find outside of YouTube on how to make money with ads as well. If you have any questions about anything I'm covering here, you can leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment, usually within 24 hours. And beyond that, you can reach out to me through my Discord group. My link to the Discord is in the video description. I also can be reached through my website at guaranteedppc.com. I do coaching and consulting through there. I also offer done-for-you management services, managing any kind of online ads that you would want to run. If you reach out to me, I'll get you a guarantee of performance on your ads. That is, if you don't lift your profitability a certain minimum amount up front, we do not charge anything. No other firm does this. I also have ad templates available. If you're in a market that we've already been in, I can tell you the winning ads, landing pages, all of it that work for your market, and tell you what it's going to do up front because I've already worked in your market already in another city or country that you're in. Let me know if you're interested in that. I've got hundreds of these templates available. So going into the case study here, what I basically did was, and I'm going to demonstrate here, is what you specifically / exactly should do in your case, in your market. And if you're a local provider, you need to be looking at national players, not only local ones. Because the local ones, I guarantee you, no matter how big your market is, even if you're in NYC, there's more than likely going to be somebody that's kicking your ass and everybody's ass in your market in another city in the US somewhere. Because NYC is still only 4% of the population. How could the best advertiser be there? Statistically, it's not likely. So you're going to go ahead, you're going to go to the ad center on Ad Library on Facebook. You're going to check TikTok. You're going to check Google's ads. And like we did for the local furniture shop, we took 229 companies advertising on Facebook for one. And we tested the top 5 that had the highest factor here, correlation factor, out of this formula, and ran all the best ads from the best 5 at the highest score. Now, here are the results that we got. Conversions on the first player were 12 per month with a 914% ROAS. For that market, that's huge. Number 2 market, we had 7 conversions per month at 805% ROAS. Competitor number 3 that we copied, we had 24 conversions itself with 125% ROAS. Competitor number 4, we had 21 conversions on a 794% ROAS. And with number 5 competitor, we had 19 conversions with the 642% ROAS. So what could you take away from this data that I just gave you here? Number 1, the most conversions does not mean the most amount of ROI by any means. This in and itself was a fluke because what they were promoting wasn't very profitable. So you got to keep in mind, you got to keep track of your ROI all the way through to a purchase. Part of what they were doing here on this number 3 one was generating leads, which those leads would turn into a sale. They didn't turn it into a sale at nearly high enough of a rate to warrant doing it, which is why we had 125% ROAS. Whereas some of these, we had almost 1,000% ROAS. What else can we glean from this? Ultimately, similar to this, or contrary to what I just mentioned, the one with 7 conversions had almost the highest ROAS itself as well. And that is because from looking at the data and what we had there, the items that we were promoting got a higher closing rate for the people that were getting to the store, and they were also spending more money. Basically promoting mattresses versus couches versus recliners, that kind of thing. So with that said, what I'm saying is you should test everything, but make sure you test more than one competitor's ad, because you can very well end up in a situation where, oh, Corey, I did everything you said, but I didn't make any money. Or just based upon testing 5 of these, I'm making shitloads of money. All it took was testing more than just simply one, and that's what you should do. So that's a perfect example of how to use this formula to your advantage, how it's done, how you want to do it on your end as well. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. I'll see you on the next one. If you want to see another video, click here. It is one of my best ones.